This is good, isn't it? We start, and as soon as we start, somebody's fucking mowing a lawn.
I just love how we've been talking for a half an hour and there was no noise on your end. No
Nothing.
chirping birds there in Costa Rica. Now they're mowing lawns.
Stay calm. Stay calm. Things could be worse. I could be you. I'm worried about you, mate.
Yeah, I guess on that last Action News episode that we recorded, maybe I was bitching a lot. And then and then a couple people reached out to me, like Alex reached out, "You okay?" You and Q&A were talking about, "Oh, I'm worried about Jon." Somebody, It's all right. I'm okay.
I don't think it was the bitching. It was like there was an undertone of like, not distress, kind of like fatigue. Just like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this fucking shit.
I'm really tired of the bullshit and things that don't matter. I'm very excited, even though we don't have a lot on the docket today for this episode of PMM. I was excited to record it because I feel like we cover topics that are more meaningful, that are actionable, that are impactful in people's lives, that are practical. We have a little fun with our conspiracy theory type stuff and going off on different tangents. But in every PMM episode, I think people walk away with something tangible, whether they feel good about their family or their community or their direction that they're going to, go into to achieve sovereignty and freedom and all the things that we talk about in this show.
All the good stuff.
I was glad to get to it. Sometimes with the mining stuff, because I'm working so hard on something mining, when the topic goes into bid axes, pool centralization and decentralization, and now this stupid argument with the Bitcoin core devs and op return limits and all that stuff, and I think, oh my God, I've like invested all the spare capital plus debt to make this thing happen. I've been working nonstop for the past couple months to make this project happen. I'm like just frustrated to have to even cover all this stupid petty bullshit. I just want to build real things. And so maybe that's why my tone felt that way on the last show.
I completely agree. I was actually saying that to my missus yesterday. We were driving, taking the kids somewhere, and she was, "Oh, how's it going with the pod?" And I was like, "It's good, but I'm a bit bored and frustrated."
Mm-hmm.
These conversations are cool. The general updates that I do with Q and the things I do with Seth and like the odd conversations and stuff, like I still enjoy those. But I feel like as soon as I try and dip into Twitter, especially like now with all this fucking I'm running nuts, all this like gay fucking virtue signaling stupidity, it just makes me like, oh, I'd rather like fucking take up fishing or something. It's more interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't have the energy to care about this shit, whereas I used to, and I'd probably have picked a side, even though like I have my opinions, but I'd have picked a side and like gone to war over it and fight over it and stuff. And like now I'm just like, I just don't care. All I wish is you'd shut the fuck up. That's all I wish. That's all I hope for, that when I go to send a tweet or go to look for something interesting, I don't have this drivel in front of me. That's the only thing. And when you're busy, I guess it's just like, I don't know. I understand your frustration.
I'm not frustrated. I'm pleased with the progress that I'm making. I've been excited to interact with a lot of different people that I wouldn't normally have met, just in our social circles, especially now the oil and gas mining people who have nothing to do with Bitcoin mining, who really don't care. I've been able to branch out and meet a few different folks, and that's been nice. And I've made progress. Yeah, I'm building something real. Something that's beneficial to my family, will be to my friends and the people that know me in mining. And I'm excited about it, but it's hard work. And I think the worst thing, and I've been complaining to Sarah a lot about this, is 10 years ago, I was an absolute horse. I mean, I could work 14 hours a day and then get it and do it again and do it again and again for weeks at a time, 30 something days in a row. No problem. Just give me some food. Let me sleep a little bit.
Like a mule.
Yeah, I was a fucking monster. And now when I work 10 or 12 hours a day, I'm feeling it and I feel it the next day. And that's been frustrating to me, to finally like go up against your limits and realize that, wow, so I can't maintain that for the rest of my life.
That's just age.
Yeah, I know.
You are old.
Yeah. Somebody said that in one of our chats today. Why does Max call you old all the time?
Because you are. Speak the truth.
I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you hit different stages of everyone says that, and you like
Yeah.
ignore it and ignore it, especially when you're younger. And then, I mean, I'm nowhere near as old as you, but I've noticed it every time, every sort of decade that goes past, you suddenly hit it. And you're like, oh, fucking hell. Moving that weight is a bit harder.
Yeah.
Waking up is a bit harder. Why does my fucking knees and everything hurt today? Like for zero reason.
Yeah.
Just yeah, I'm tired. It's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock at night, and I'm like falling asleep. What is
Oh,
happening?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everyone says it. Like, I remember my grandma; she'd got to nearly 100, and she like used to say, she's like, everything's just hard now.
Hmm.
Everything hurts and everything's hard. She's like, don't take it for granted now while you're young, but obviously you do. And
Oh,
I probably
yeah.
take it for granted now. And then when I get, I mean, it's a long way away, but when I get to your sort of age, I'll be like, fuck, I wish I was like how I am now. So I get
You can't fucking stop the digs, can you?
it.
What do you want me to do? I'm as old as I am. Like,
I'm
nothing.
sorry.
I didn't choose this. It
No,
just every year this happens. You
it
get
happened.
more.
Yeah, every second it's happening. It's just
Yeah.
constantly chipping away. No, it's just I felt like maybe I was a bit too nice and caring. We all were quite worried about you and like sending you nice messages and stuff. And then I thought like we got to bring you down a peg. Like we can't
Yeah,
indulge you
that
too
makes
much. Like
more sense.
oh,
Hmm.
woe is me. Or like
Yeah.
come on. Yes, yes, you're an aged man, but you still need to toughen the fuck up.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. I am like still nursing a sore foot
Okay. Oh.
because I jumped on top of one of these containers
Mm-hmm.
to take the catalytic converter and exhaust off the top of it so I could
Mm-hmm.
transport it. And then I just like jumped down off of it like it was nothing. And I
Ah.
was like,
Okay.
oh, holy shit. I really can't just jump 6 feet, down and not feel a little bit of an injury.
It's a lot of force. Mm.
Yeah, right. Well, before we play the intro song and stuff, so everything in the show should be actionable.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't just be one middle-aged guy and one super young, fit, hot
Mm-hmm.
guy talking
Handsome.
about, getting older. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actionable things here. And I thought to myself the other day, okay, I can't go. And I talked to you about this on the phone last week. So I can't go 14 hours a day anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Still got my fiat job, still got these kids, still, building this
Can't
thing.
get rid of them. That's the problem.
No, they've been great. Sarah's been great throughout all of this. Just everybody picking up slack because nothing can happen in a family like this with just saying, okay, well, dad's going to now take on a whole nother lifestyle and project along with these
Mm-hmm.
other things that he's
Yeah.
created.
Yeah.
And there's going to be no impact on the family. There is impact.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
here less and everybody has turned it up. So that's this like making sure other people, up their game
Mm-hmm.
in your family is 100% necessary. Now, Sarah does it automatically, but it's been a sit down with the girls and explain like, hey, I can't tell you to do your chicken chores every day. I can't tell you to empty the trash can. I can't tell you to clean your room and bring because this is like the death of 1,000 cuts in a family is the parents
Mm.
having to constantly pick up a thing, pick up the kid's slack, tell the kid to do something. Well, that takes like emotional energy from you and it
Yeah.
takes time from you. Try to explain to them, and they always should be, whether I was starting this project or not, self-starters. And I think that's a lot of where we've put our energy is to get these kids to be more self-starters and pick up the slack in
Mm.
little places here so I can be away and do stuff.
That's good.
Well, we'll see, I should be doing this anyway. Just shit in one hand and wish in the other. I said this to you the other day. So my entire life has always been, oh, I got to put brakes on my car. No way I'm paying somebody to put brakes on my car. I'm not doing that shit. Oh, I got to cut this tree down. No, I'm not calling somebody to cut that tree down. I'm going to cut that tree down. Every little thing I always done.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't know it, I'd figure it out. I'd learn it. If I couldn't learn it, didn't have the tools, take it to a friend's house, do it together. But now I'm to the point where like, okay, I have to start paying people to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been the most difficult part of all of this, saying to myself, okay, you're human, you're getting old, there's only so much time in the day. Stop tripping over $1 to save a dime,
Mm-hmm.
spending 12 hours on something so I can save $200.
Yeah.
Those days are over. And that's
Mm-hmm.
been a difficult transition.
The difficult part is, well, it's two pronged there because it's like it's difficult to let go and change your mentality. And then you actually have to have the money that you pay the people to do the things as well. So it's double hard.
Yeah.
I find I find that I'm like, fuck, I can't take on any more. I'm gonna have to pay someone to do this.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, here's my bill. You're like, ah, yes, that money thing. You want that to do the job.
You've been this way with Ungovernable Misfits, like t-shirt stuff. You're like, fuck, I'm just going to print it all myself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, this is not practical. Turns out
Yeah.
there's only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, it's that there really are. I can still bang through like 14, 16 hours, but it's still like prioritizing stuff, isn't it? Especially with family. Is if I do what I used to do before family, I wouldn't have a family very long. They'd be
Yeah.
like, fuck this. Like, not stay. Like, you can't just lock yourself in an office and then just like not come out. You can't actually do that. Like, you can't miss every breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Marry a hermit.
Yeah, you can't miss every single thing that we do. Like, that's just not an option anymore. So there's a balance there.
Well, hopefully we can all strike that balance and just ask for a little bit more focus and energy. What do we all want to achieve? I just want a little bit more ability to create our own path as a family.
I just want everyone to leave me alone unless I want something from them. Like, government, can you just fuck off? Taxman, can you just fuck off? Like, can all the interfering just fuck off? And then if I like want something or need something, then I'll reach out. That's the position you want to be in, where you can like close the gates on your home and you can be in there. And there's just like the standard mode is that everyone leaves you the fuck alone and you can just get along with your business and like your life. That's the dream. I don't feel like that's asking for too much, but it seems from our conversation we had off air with some of the things that we could talk about that we can't hear is like, that seems really fucking hard. But hopefully you're going to play some like aggressive gym music intro stuff that's going to get us all pumped, and then we're going to be like, fuck them, and then we can like get back to winning.
Yeah, let's do that.
Should we do that?
It's coming. That'll get you going.
Oh,
This is Soulcraft by Bad Brains.
Soulcraft. Should I get it on my Spotify?
Oh yeah, you need to get it on your Spotify.
Soulcraft
By the Bad Brains.
by the Bad Brains. There we are. I'm just adding to liked songs. And generally, Bad Brains is good, is it?
Yeah. Generally, Bad Brains is good. It's a DC, 80s DC punk band. Blew up worldwide. Everybody knows Bad Brains.
Except for me, it seems.
Well, now you do, buddy.
Okay, I've just added it to my gym playlist.
All right. We'll end that. Fade it out more nicely when you do your editing work.
Yeah, I'll make it sound good.
Well, we're pumped up. Thanks to Bad Brains, Soulcraft.
Thank you, Bad Brains.
Ready to fight the globalists. I didn't play our I Hate You intro song. I think maybe that's been played.
Yeah, I think so.
We're good. We did that for a year and a half, and you guys get it.
There's certain people and organizations we hate.
Yeah, mainly Hollywood pedophiles.
They are the worst.
Well, in this episode of PMM, we don't have much. I said on the last episode of Action News that these are just going to be short and sweet and not layered with all kinds of stuff. But I think there's a certain amount of fatigue for all of the nuts and bolts kind of stuff. It's almost too much of it.
There is a little bit.
So we're going to take it easy.
Yeah.
Got two topics on here I want to cover. Chickens, given that you've most recently moved to Argentina and you're looking at a property that has a lot of land. You want to get some backyard chickens or maybe even scale beyond backyard chickens, and we'll talk chicken talk because I have some chickens.
I know.
And I know a little bit about it.
A cluck load.
It was cute.
Yeah.
You got really great dad jokes. You're a good dad.
Yeah, I know.
And then we'll finish up with a discussion between Max and I on social capital I see social capital as, we always envision the mesh Tadel as individual nodes, whether that node is a community, a family, an individual, an organization. And we have this spider web of connectedness between each other. But I think that connection point is social capital.
Hmm.
And I want to give my thoughts on that and have a discussion with my good friend Max about it.
That sounds lovely. You did miss out, though, before we move on to boosts. I also wanted to talk about ducks.
Oh, you want to talk about ducks? Well, I don't know anything about ducks, but you tell me what you know about ducks.
Well, no, fuck all. I was hoping you knew something about ducks.
Not really. I know people that have them,
Okay.
and I don't like the taste of duck eggs personally.
Okay.
They're like a little gamier
Okay.
and,
Yeah.
greasier. There's just a certain taste.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 kid used to really like duck eggs.
Mm.
I would get duck eggs from a friend at work, but nobody else in the family liked them.
Like actual eating the duck, though, is fucking delicious.
I've never eaten duck.
You've never eaten duck? Oh, no.
I'm not Chinese.
Oh, roast duck is fucking phenomenal. Is that like a belief thing because you used to be a vegan?
No, there's no. I don't give a shit.
Okay, so you would eat one now if like you were somewhere and it was cooked.
I don't eat pork because I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
A Muslim. No, I just don't eat pork.
Okay.
A duck is not a popular dish around here,
No,
TBH. So
no, but it is delicious. This I'll add that to the list of. I often say to you and others, I'm like, if we ever meet, I'll cook you. Like I just said to Barn about a full English. He was like, I've never had one. I'm like, for fuck's sake. All right, if I ever meet you, I'll cook you a full English. And the same now. I'll cook you roast duck.
you've also promised to cook me lamb and mint sauce.
Yeah, I'll cook you that as well. Proper roast lamb. I'll do that as well.
Okay.
You have to stay for a few days.
We'll have to do it here. Since you moved to El Salvador, you
Mhm.
can't get good lamb there, from what I understand.
That's true. Maybe we could get some from Carl.
Maybe we could. Yeah, so you'd have to come here to cook.
Okay. Well, that's fine. As long as you and Sarah will lend me your kitchen, I'm sure I can work it
Sure.
out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Done deal.
Anytime. Up to our boosts. If anybody listened to the Booberry pod that I did, by the way, thank you for lending me the mic for the confab. That was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you for using it so well. Just what an incredible pod. One of the best.
Oh, yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. The value for value ecosystem is alive and well. And it was cool to talk to the no agenda adjacent group because they're really a lot of the pioneers for the value for value stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Their ecosystem is deep. And if you want to understand more about their personality, go back and listen to that episode. But I was just reading the boost and I kind of have a new appreciation for the value for value scene after doing that pod with.
Yeah, they take it to a whole different level. And like a lot of the stuff goes over our heads. It was good for me to listen to that, learning about the way that they're doing things. And like you say, they are pioneering things.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll slowly start learning from them. They do some really interesting stuff. It is cool.
You're up first with the boosts, buddy.
Chet with 40,021 sats. What a baller.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wasting my sats on hoes and drugs lately. Time to get back to basics and support the homies and family. Life is good. Such a fucking constant struggle and such a delicate balance to not go too far off the deep end. ... I imagine that. I often think of Chet, when you're like, oh, he's working in the mine, bro, and like he brings his little roll-out bed. I always think he's got to bring some hose with him, hasn't he? You know what I mean?
That'd be a tough sell.
I don't think it would.
We're like, hey, hose, come on up to this shack on a well pad that I'm sleeping on the floor.
I think you underestimate his charm. I think that he's like, look, I've got a bag full of drugs. I've got a great beard. All right, just come with me. It's going to be cozy. We're going to be in a shed. We're going to be in a roll-out bed. But trust me, it's going to be worth your while. And that's where he spends, his downtime.
Maybe it's not down. It's up.
Yeah.
Up next on Boosts, we have Welder Ian with 33,333 sats. Wrong time listener. First time booster. I keep coming back to hear more of John's impressions and Max's cough. Great work, boys.
Thank you.
Thought we're going to get a cough-free pod today, and not so. That is enough. That's enough. Since you moved to Puerto Rico, your cough has kind of gone away.
You're going through every fucking South American country.
Mhm. I'll branch I'll branch out.
Yeah.
You're moving to Sri Lanka next. Guess what?
Okay.
Whatever I choose, it's going to be hot. You
Why
see,
hot? It could be
I'm
in
just
Scotland.
no. Nobody believe it.
Really?
No,
No, to be fair, I wouldn't
no,
move to Scotland.
no. You wouldn't.
It's too cold for me. It's too. Do you know what though? Scotland is really beautiful, and the people are much more friendly and funny than they are in the
Mm.
UK.
Hmm.
Like I said, the UK in England. Like generally, when I used to go up to Scotland, I'd be like, "Wow, people are really chatty and friendly." The same with just going further north. The further north you go, the less cunty and the more like
Hmm.
friendly and chatty they are. And then the closer you come into London, the more cunty and rude and just disgusting people are.
Well, don't you feel guilty for shitting on Northerners all the time throughout the years on your
No, you
podcast?
got to bring them down a peg or two, mate.
This Northerner, that. It is rude.
It's jealousy, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. UTXO management. Late stage huddle. John / Americans suppressing fagginess to save manliness. Max, UK. Open up your buttholes.
I never said that. When did I say that?
I on the last PMM episode, I guess. Late stage huddle
No.
wouldn't make this up.
No,
Also,
what he's
Max.
no, listen, this is like a media trick, okay? I'm just reading it now,
Mm-hmm.
which you know is a struggle for me. But what he's done is he said, Max, UK, and then you've read open up your buttholes as if that's what I've
Yeah.
said, which I haven't. And then I look, and
Check the
then
transcript.
in the speech bubbles, there's open up. Then they're closed. So what I said was open up, and then he's inserted your buttholes.
You've inserted your
Since
butthole.
Hey. There's buttholes being inserted. I didn't say that.
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Produced the receipts late stage huddle. Also, Max, I liked that bit when Soul Exporter spoke about his ass cheek.
I did say that. Yeah, I did say that.
When I get my ass cheek off of the person next to me on the plane. Fundamentals. Max unironically suggesting I strip without saying no homo is probably the gayest moment of this show's history. The only thing I'm stripping is people's fear and demoralization around mathematics.
Oh, I like that. 8 Mithrandir. Usually, when you have an hour hard stop, you ramble aimlessly for 40 minutes of it. Well, we've done
Yes.
that today as well.
Thank you. Yep.
Yep. Well done for staying on topic. Jordan must have been remotely electrocuting via real life zaps.
That's not a bad idea. Maybe when you guys launch your live stream thing, that he can have some kind of electrodes hooked up to you guys. And
I don't want to give him that control. He's already like messaging and bugging and like mid recording. You get messages. Have you got it yet? Have you got it yet? We can send it now. If you give him that, it's going to be too much.
it's a really good Canadian impression.
Yeah, it's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah, they all sound like that.
Yeah, they do. Bubba, here's my hourly rate for y'all wasting my time. Thank you very much. Elvis has left the building. Cunt, 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 cunt. Made you say it. Thanks, Bubba. So his hourly rate is that he's boosted us. It's minus.
It was 5,000 sats, by the way. So.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know that because it wasn't in the show notes.
Yeah, I only do the first couple.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bubba. Thank you for your reverse hourly rate there. We appreciate it. Montani says, more shows featuring West Virginia, please.
Okay. This show could feature West Virginia. I have to go there and pick up some gear.
Okay.
And I'm a little bit worried about getting through these back roads to get to the gear that I need to pick up.
Why?
I mean, it's bad.
What's bad?
The roads there in this West Virginia, they're Middleburn, West Virginia.
Okay.
If anyone looks that up, where these pieces of equipment are, up on a hilltop, boom, boom, rocky top kind of deal. And I don't think my trailer is going to make it. Like the ass end's going to scrape on the ground or the.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. It's going to be rough.
Okay.
We'll see.
You'll get through it.
Give it a shot. Last time we were there, roads were washed out.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like driving through creek beds and shit to get from one side to the other. And I was like, oof, I'm not looking forward to coming to get this gear.
Just take the Chinook.
Oh, by helicopter. Sure. Yeah, no problem. Airlifted.
Yeah.
Next up is Adapise.
Hey, chingity ching.
He says, maybe I'll make it out to Pupkey someday. Most of my free time is spent smoking blunts and working out. Last time I was in Brooklyn, I was chasing a motherfucker around a construction site with a shovel trying to kill him. That's when I decided, fuck New York City. It was right before COVID, which the communist-like rules just sealed the deal for me to never cross the George Washington Bridge ever again. I said I would never go to New York City ever again, not even for a wedding or a funeral, and so far, I've held to my word. Well,
Okay.
give it a shot. Just don't bring a shovel next time.
Don't bring a shovel. He said he was going to ground in the last episode or boost that I read. It was like, I'm keeping my head down, going to ground.
Yeah, on you and Q&A show.
I imagine it might have something to do with blunts and shovels.
We'll see. We wish you the best.
Blunt instruments and blunts.
He also says, I'm an American and I'm spiritual and badass. You Brits are just whiny cunts. Just kidding, Max. You're kind of badass too, the way you talk about kicking men in the balls.
Do I?
I don't know. It's hard to keep track. Laughing face.
I definitely have. When I was a kid, I kicked a kid in the balls really fucking hard because he grasped on me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've done it since then.
Okay.
And then I got suspended. I got in trouble for what he grasped me on. And then once he'd grasped me, then I kicked him in the bollocks and I think slapped him. And then I got suspended after that. So I definitely have done it, but it's not something I do like regularly these days.
Yeah. You also used to shit in your pants, but you don't do that anymore. So we don't just move on.
Never say never, mate. Occasionally I throw one in.
Yeah. When you
Or
get
out.
to be my age, sonny.
Anyone who says they never shit their pants is lying, because you get some proper bad food poisoning or like something really goes wrong. And I'm afraid that's going to happen. You're in the wrong place, the wrong time. It's going to happen.
Okay.
Let's just be honest here.
No, I'm not going to talk about that. It's gross. Next up for pies, 16-hour drive is dedication. Only a badass American would do that. U.S. is number one. Great Britain is shit.
Yeah.
40 hours per week. He says, by the way, I love the 1 hour hard stop. Being that I listen on 2.0 speed, I only have to wear my AirPods for half an hour this morning. Namaste. Namaste to you.
Oh, namaste. Thank you, mate. What's your thoughts on these AirPod thing? Half the people that I speak to who are like deep in the conspiracy stuff, but like generally right, are like, you shouldn't wear fucking wireless headphones. It's really bad, and it's this and it's that. And then I'm like, your track record is quite good. Yeah. So I would think that maybe you're right. But then at the same time, I still wear them because, well, A, I don't have any wired headphones anymore. And B, it's just fucking annoying when you're like trying to train or like do something. The wires like then get caught and then they pull out of your phone or whatever. Yeah. It's fucking, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's probably somewhat true. We've always had these radio waves flying through the air since, Marconi invented radio, and then people are worried about 5G, but yet that's the same bandwidth that the old UHF stations used to work on. So those frequencies have always been, flying around the air. People are worried about Wi-Fi. I don't know. There's a lot to worry about. It's the fact that there's that generation and it's inside your ear and it's that close to your head that I think everybody's truly worried about.
Okay.
Because you've got the same power transmitting from your pocket in your phone. Me, I wear the necklace ones with the little earbuds dangling down, and then you separate them and put them in your ears.
Okay.
That's because I will lose AirPods.
Yeah.
So, I have to have that necklace thing.
But it's still wireless.
They're probably right. But it's like, I personally have fatigue from all the things that I have to worry about that are supposed to kill me.
Yeah.
I really can't take it anymore. So pick your 10 things that you really want to get excited about and make that part of your life. And then say what you want to say, but then eventually leave everybody else alone.
Yeah.
So that's my take with all that stuff. Is that going to enter my 10 things that I have the bandwidth to worry about? No.
Same with Wi-Fi. I think it's maybe true, but then like people like wire everything in your house, don't have Wi-Fi on, at least have a kill switch after this time of night, and da 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 da. And I'm like, every fucking place I walk has Wi-Fi. Like, it's not just in my house. Like, if I go through a shopping center, or if I go through a strip club, if I go through a whorehouse, if I go, all the places you go day to day, it's everywhere.
Hash Sluts does not have Wi-Fi because all of the machines are hardwired.
Yeah, and we don't pay our bills either, so we would be cut off anyway. Okay, Q&A says, good show, fellas. My 3-year-old just asked me what a cunt is.
Yeah, there you go.
No. Well, I'm sorry, mate, but you know to filter this sort of stuff and not play it around your kids. So I'm kind of sorry, but I'm also kind of not. And he has a laughing face, so I think he's not too upset by it.
Okay.
So sorry about that. John, will you be my dad? That's actually Q&A saying it, not me, because I've said it before as well, but I think...
You have said it before, and the answer to both of you is of course.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thanks, Dad.
Push you on the swings? No problem.
I'd love that.
You need some life advice about girls?
Mhm.
You're really down because a girl broke your heart? Hey, I'm here for you guys. Anytime.
You hear that, Q? I'll just call you Dad if that's all right. I think Q&A is more of a daddy kind of guy, but just ignore that. Don't read too much into it.
Leather daddy.
Solex says, can you be my leather daddy? No, he doesn't. He says...
Now you have to say it in his voice.
Can you be my leather daddy? It's a very bad impression, sorry. Solex actually says, love heart, but an orange one. A little like smiley, huggy, happy face thing, huggy thing, and a high five, or praying, one of the two. Thank you, Solex.
Mm-hmm.
And FOMO Chronic says, boosted 1001 sats.
Hey, thanks, Fomochronic. Appreciate it. Next up is
thanks, mate.
Chad Farrow and 33 others. Shout out to Bitpunk is typing. Strong arm muscle. I don't know what that means. All of these are 333 sats.
Mm-hmm. Which means something. All these things mean things, but we don't know what they mean. Like, shout out to bitpunk.fm is typing strong arm. Okay, but thank you.
Always thank you, Chad Farrow.
Yeah.
Book on tape. John is old. Nut kicks are only... Apparently, we talked about nut kicking in the last episode.
Yeah, I guess
nut
so.
kicks are only allowed for women and children as self-defense or the show Jackass.
That's fair.
Now we know the rules. That's fair. That's fair. Gene Everett finally said something nice. He just has high standards. Well, I'm glad we met his high standards. And to wrap things up, Set in Stone streamed 21,600 sats. Thank you, Set in Stone. And Pojamies streamed 16,000 sats as they listened.
Wow.
Wowee.
Thank you very much. That's really nice.
Good dudes.
Oh, this fucker's back now. Can you hear him?
Yeah. I got chickens singing their chicken song in the background. So I don't know if you can hear that.
I actually can't.
All kinds of noise. Listen, we live a life.
Okay.
We got lives, people. You know, we live in a place. We don't got our own private studios, despite having one of the most popular podcasts in this space. And, you know, long time running.
What are we doing wrong?
Not a high-end podcast with a studio and all this shit.
Not a high-end production. I've got my mic rested on an outdoor little like shitty table. I'm like halfway into a bathroom and halfway into a bedroom recording with some cunt who's decided that they need to cut their grass at this time. So it is what it is.
Whatever.
What
do you want from us? The production value is in you know, the podcasting 2.0 stuff, and got a good transcript and custom art and a cool website. And so if you hear a chicken or a lawnmower, so fucking what?
Yeah. Grow up. Fucking grow up. Stop whinging about it.
Yeah.
But I will mute it while I'm not talking because it's actually annoying me. So
very well. Okay.
I will mute it.
Well, one person who is not annoying and is grown up and runs a fantastic Bitcoin mining gear sales business is our friend altertech.io. I was chatting with altertech.io the other day, and by the way, if you missed the previous Confab episode with altertech.io representative, go back and listen to that, because I'm sure you guys, I haven't had a chance, yeah, the confag. I haven't had a chance to listen to that episode yet since it's just dropped this morning, and I was doing show preparations for this, but I'm sure it was a good one.
It was very good.
Avril is just a dude. He's like a really practical guy. there's no drama or bullshit with him. And I was texting with him yesterday, and I was like, man, hey, by the way, I just want to say thanks for sponsoring the show.
Mm-hmm.
I just really, really appreciate you. We spoke on the last Action News episode about now is the time to work on infrastructure if you're one of these home heating people. And I think in our PMM shows, we probably, when we talk about Bitcoin mining, we're more looking at the small scale side of things, heat capture, perhaps doing fun things, what Carl does with all of his different contraptions, or creating a compost pile and siphoning off the methane produced from the compost pile and trying to mine like that, heat capture kind of things. Altair is a place where you can get those products. For instance, the Bit Chimney. The Bit Chimney kit is for sale right now for $499. Now, that doesn't include the hash board, but if you've been part of the Pleb Miner Mafia for long enough, guarantee you have an S19 hash board laying around somewhere. Guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you can get them pretty easily. But this base shell that you get is the beautiful Bit Chimney shell itself, in that aluminum extruded shape, red, kind of maroonish red and gray.
Yeah.
You get that beautiful case. You get fans. You get a control board. You get the Loki setup. So that's the card that tricks it into using 120 volts. You get a power supply.
Jack Bombster.
Zach Bombster, yeah. You get the Vonnet's Wi-Fi card, so you can fry your brain with Wi-Fi and not have it wired up. So if you're conspiracy theory with all that kind of stuff, you can disconnect the Vonnets and hook directly up to the control board's Ethernet ports, should you desire. But we spoke on the last Action News about working on our infrastructure, working on building new things. Now's the time to get a real steal on something like that, so you can be prepared for wintertime.
I feel like it looks like an extension of Iron Man.
Yeah, it does have that vibe.
It would be nice if they could build in some sort of like Jarvis AI thing that you could speak to Barn Miner and Altair. Like you could speak through that to them.
How would that? What would you say to the Barn Miner AI?
I'd normally probably ask Barn for advice on what I'm wearing. Like, what do you think of this outfit?
This fucking stupid, dude. What does it matter?
It's
Just put on a fucking t-shirt and flip flops. Like, who cares, dude? Nobody fucking gives a shit what you look like.
Exactly. That's the sort of thing that I want in my life. Like, it's not abuse, but it's just like bringing you back down. Like, no one cares about anything you do. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Go ahead and ask Barn Miner AI another question. See what he comes up with.
Consider building it in. I think it'd be nice. What do you think about filtering fucking JPEGs and like?
I don't fucking care, dude. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter, dude. It's all fucking gay and fucking stupid.
Fucking gay and
I don't
shit.
fucking care. Like everybody just fucking Dorsey cucks trying to make themselves feel important, virtue signaling bullshit. It's fucking stupid, dude.
He's a wise old goat,
Yeah. In his bitching and complaining and fuckings and dudes. Nope. Yeah. Didn't mean it that way.
Maybe we did.
Those affectations that he has. Mm-hmm. There is a lot of wisdom and practical wisdom in there.
He's got the wisdom of 100-year-old goat that's really been through it and really lived, but he sounds like a 12-year-old girl who skates.
Yeah, who surfs. Yeah, just like a surfer, dude.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
I don't even fucking care.
Whatever, dude. Fucking guys.
Yeah, he is wise, though. I find myself scarily agreeing with almost 95% of what he says. It's like, that's completely logical and right. And then 5% is fucking completely retarded and cunty.
He and I rarely disagree.
Yeah, we love that goat.
Mm-hmm. And he works for AltairTech.io, by the way. We're still doing a commercial for them.
We are, yeah. Well, what I'm saying is that they only do things right, and they only employ things that are right, even if they sound gay and like a little girl.
AltairTech.io. Promo code
Ungovernable.
I'll extend this giveaway, even though this is a Bitcoin mining type giveaway. I asked a friend of mine if he could tweet this out, and he never did. But that's fine.
Not a very good friend.
He is, though. He's just really busy. I'm giving away a multimeter, a clamp-on multimeter, as part of Action News, because in that last Action News episode, we tried to stress the importance.
Sorry, mate. I just had a problem with my audio. Would you say you're giving away a strap-on meter?
A clamp-on. Oh, boy.
What is it?
Here come the boosts. A clamp-on multimeter. Clamp-on multimeter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Meaning that you can test amperage just by clamping on one of the conductors and finding out how many amps is going through that.
Okay.
So we spoke on the last Action News about focusing on real things like safety,
Yeah.
checking your infrastructure there. And I wanted to empower people to be able to do that. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give away a multimeter as part of that episode. You follow our sponsors for Action News, Lincoin Mining and altertech.io, and you share the show, do the typical things, and I will ship you this multimeter if I pick your name out of the hat. US only. I'm done shipping internationally.
Fair
It's
enough.
such an expensive fucking pain in the ass. If I pick you and you don't live in the United States, I'll give this to my kid's like science teacher or send it to somebody that has kids and they can do all the STEM stuff with them.
Okay. That's very nice. Don't listen to what they say about you, Jon. You're a good guy.
Oh, hey, thanks. That's altertech.io. Promo code
Ungovernable. And you have to follow them both to have a chance of winning this incredible multimeter, which is just to check that things are grounded or like
voltage, amperage, ohms, your typical multimeter functions.
Do your stuffs, and you don't have to use that. You were talking about like you could use this thing, but it's $500,000 and like.
No, I said 500 to 1,000, not 500,000.
Oh, when you said like it's 500,000, I was like, you were like, you can do that. I was like, fucking hell! Like, who the hell is going to do that?
Purpose-built ground tester thing. It's a whole kit. It comes like a little suitcase thing because you got to throw a ground rod somewhere else, and it's got to be spaced out. And then
it's 500 to 1,000.
Yes, yeah, for
that
those good
more
ones.
Sense. That makes more sense.
Yeah,
I was shocked. I was like, okay, fuck.
That's something that I had suggested to Barn Miner a long time ago. Well, he was having like stray voltage. Turns out the electrician did something wrong. But initially in troubleshooting, I thought maybe your ground is no good because that's sandy soil there in Florida. And it's not quite as conductive as the soil that we have here. So I said, just have your electrician come out and see if that ground is any good. If not, you'll have to run more ground rods and, wire them up in like a triangle. Your whole strategy is different if your grounds aren't good. If you're having problems, it's worth an electrician to come out with his good system and see if you have good grounds. Otherwise, you got to throw in more ground rods.
Practical advice.
Or a lot of people do this thing where they'll pound the ground rod in and then like hit a rock and be like, well, I'm done. And then just cut it off.
Okay.
You didn't pound the ground rod all the way
in. You've always got to pound it all the way in.
Oh, yeah. Down to the ground. Taking you down to Pound Town. Hey, Max, you want to get some chickens?
I really do want to get some chickens, yeah. I think the kids would enjoy the chickens. I like eggs. I'm maybe 6 months away from actually getting some land. Not lots of land, but like more than we had. So like I'm not in a position where I can do cows or like do any like larger animals or anything like that. But chickens, yeah. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of coming out and getting fresh eggs and having those in the morning and not having to buy the kind of shop bought battery hen bullshit. Yeah, I like the idea. Like I've got a lot of questions though in terms of how much of an issue is it going to be with predators. I'll tell you what predators we have and then I'll edit this bit out.
Okay, so you think somebody is smart enough to figure out where you live based on and
yeah. There's a lot of smart listeners.
Fine, you live in Vietnam.
Okay. So let's just say that there's one animal you now know that's ground-based.
There's one animal in particular, yeah, that is very slick and tricky.
Yeah.
And can possibly dig down and come back up.
Yes.
This is a common problem. That's a weasel family animal. So anybody with a sneaky fucking weasel. All right. The first thing I want to tell you is don't overdo it.
Okay.
Because you're a psycho and you overdo everything.
Yes. Can confirm.
So just chill the fuck out to start with. If one of these chickens gets eaten or all of your chickens get eaten, no big deal. You can go buy more chickens. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah, I guess so. It's more the massacre, like for the kids, because they're going to make... I don't want to have these chickens to eat them. I want them for egg laying specifically. So I know that my kids are going to be like, name them and like want to be their friends and all that.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, we've been through it.
I don't want to come back to a massacre unnecessarily. I know what you mean. Like, I might have the tendency to go completely over the top here with some sort of crazy security system and concreted, and I get that. But maybe there's like a middle ground of like, let's not tempt fate.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it at least that maybe these creatures look next door and are like, no, these cunts haven't done anything. I'll rob next door's chickens instead.
The animals you mentioned, one is going to hunt by day and the other by night.
Mm-hmm.
So the night one, I think, is probably your biggest threat. The best thing you can do against aerial attacks during the day, and you had mentioned, so that doesn't give away anything. That's
No.
everywhere in the world. Is that if you have a rooster, that helps things out. But are you going to want to have a rooster?
I don't know. Are they good? Are they a laugh? Like, are they annoying? They're annoying because they do that all that shit.
They're annoying. They cock-a-doodle-doo,
Mm-hmm.
but they also tend to the chickens in some way. If you have a good rooster, he cares about his ladies.
I bet they do. Oh, yeah.
And there is this theory that fertilized eggs are better for you than unfertilized eggs.
Oh.
And you also have the opportunity where you can get an incubator and hatch your own chickens.
Oh, that's true. You could sort of expand the flock.
Yeah, there's an advantage there that you don't have to get store-bought chickens. If a chicken, hatches that you've incubated, it imprints on you. So they tend to be those friendly ones and sit on your lap and all that stuff and are not all skittish and running away. So if that's something that you've imagined in your mind, like, oh, I'm going to go out and they're going to sit on my lap and it'll be cute.
Not really. I don't want them shitting all over me.
I'm just saying. I'm just like laying it all out for you. The incubator hatched chickens are better for that because they've imprinted to you.
Right.
Not like a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Which is most of the time. I would also recommend, so before we get on your coop and your run setup, to try to figure out a way that you can provide them clean water and healthy bedding and be protected from critters digging up underneath and coming eating their brains in the middle of the night and stealing your eggs. If you can source the chickens from somebody you know around town, like just see if somebody has fertilized eggs, that would be good, because I don't know what kind of stores you guys have there
I don't know yet.
for getting chickens. And I just imagine a place like that, you could probably just get some chickens from somebody.
Yeah, I think so. There's quite a lot of chickens just like fucking around.
Yeah.
Like, you just like walk around, there's like, oh, there's some chickens.
There's a chicken fucking around.
So I'd imagine so. They do. They fuck around. They fuck around in the road. They fuck around like jumping over into different properties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're fucking around.
It's possible for you to start with like fully grown chickens because, I know people that are like, oh, we had a couple roosters and all of a sudden I have all these damn chickens, or nobody's eating eggs anymore and I've got all these chickens and I only really want one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So quite often you can get grown chickens for free.
Okay.
Just to help somebody out.
Okay.
So you might could start there. If you're going to start with chicks, then your situation. For us here, we've got to worry about how warm it gets outside before, we put them in that kind of environment. You don't have that problem living in Laos. So you just have to make sure that they're shaded and that they're in a good spot before you start putting them out. For your coop, you want to have good airflow in the coop. It doesn't necessarily need to be completely encapsulated, but in order to get airflow and prevent critters, then you're going to have to use something like chicken wire and dig the chicken wire down to the ground and maybe even put some burlap on the ground so something can't dig down and then pop back up. You have to consider that. For using chicken wire, I'd recommend making sure to chicken wire like has a lot of pointy loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
And chickens are stupid and they will straight up poke their eye out. And I swear to God, we've had one chicken that poked its eye out on chicken wire.
Oh, God.
Or another chicken pecked it out because they're assholes to each other.
Mm. Oh, yeah, that's something to consider then. They're just going to fight each other all the time.
Once they establish the pecking order, things usually chill out. But you're going to have one chicken that they just straight up abuse, one or two chickens that they're just mean to.
Okay.
For no particular reason whatsoever. We have one chicken whose eggs they always dump out of the nesting boxes.
Oh.
They'll push them right out.
That's so rude.
They've pushed them out all the way into the pen and into the run before. They hate her eggs so much.
Little cunts.
So anyway, that's your setup. The heat there. So this is, you might want to have a coop that you clean all the time, or you could do the Joel Salatin deep bedding method where you start out with certain amount of carbon, like ash, and then you
Yeah.
do wood chips and leaves and sawdust, and you have like a couple foot base. I do mine a little bit different. Not that I'm any better than Joel Salatin, but I'm certainly not. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good kind of thing. And I think when people get into some of these homesteading stuff and they try to do it on a regular guy family level, they're like, oh, I got to check all these boxes. I have to do it just like Joel Salatin does. Well, you're not a professional homesteader.
Yeah.
So just chill out.
Yeah.
So me, myself, for my deep bed, I just start with some hay and wood chips.
Okay.
And I started a thin later. I don't put the carbon in or anything like that. And then once it starts to get, ammonia-y and poop, I just throw in more wood chips and more hay. And I just layer it to the point where I don't smell ammonia in there anymore. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. My chickens are healthy. I've never had any problems. And then I take those wood chips out. And somebody asked me the other day, well, how long do you let it compost? And I was like, I don't know, till whenever. I just kind of use some as mulch and I throw the rest on the compost pile when you're ready to exchange that deep bedding out. So if you want to get into deep bedding and you have access to whatever you have access to locally, I assume you don't have a lot of grassland there, but maybe you have a lot of palm husks or something like that, or coconut husk, or you know what I mean? You can't do it like Northeast America because you live in Sri Lanka, so you have to take that into account. So that's the deep base. Otherwise, you're gonna have to clean the coop out all the time.
Okay. All right. Which I don't want to be doing. That would be very annoying. And what sort of yield are you getting? Like, how many eggs are these egg miners going to mine a week, a day? Like, what?
Once they reach maturity and they're like in the height of their laying, it's about 1 egg a day per chicken.
Okay. That's pretty good.
See, you're in a place where you're going to have a lot of sunlight. So they're going to lay through a good part of the year, probably all year long. Whereas me, they stop laying once you have like less than 10 hours of sunlight a day, of 12 hours of sunlight. They'll just stop laying. So the trick is a lot of people put a light in the coop. And so, I'm basically going to trick you into laying eggs. I don't do that. We try to save as many eggs for wintertime as possible. We do. We don't glass them and do all these things to preserve the eggs. We just don't really, we're not homesteaders.
Okay.
We don't treat it like we're homesteaders. I suppose we could make that transition if we had to. But then once they get older, their egg production starts to drop off. And then you just have like pets. And so a lot of the homesteader people would say you should never really have a laying chicken for more than 2.5 years. Throw that in a chicken soup. But this is your pseudo family pet. So you're not going to exactly treat it the same way. So you're going to have older chickens that aren't that productive, but you don't want to kill them because, well, you've known them a while.
Okay. They're just there. They're not really going to lay. You just keep them and just like they don't really produce anything.
Some do, but not like an egg every day. Maybe you get an egg occasionally out of that bird.
Okay.
And you'd say, what am I feeding you for? Kind of deal.
And if I wanted to have like a decent omelette a day and like feed the family, I've got to have like 10 chickens or that kind of number upwards, really, haven't I?
How many eggs do you think a day that you guys consume every day?
I would say when I'm training and like when I'm in the routine of eating eggs, I'll probably eat like 6 or 8 in a day, maybe. And then like the rest of the family, like they can share one. They don't need more than that.
It's your egg.
Split it up, share it out.
Try cutting an egg into thirds.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Not easy.
I would say like between 6 to 10 eggs a day would be, because especially like I would eat more eggs if we're producing eggs because I'd be like, oh, fucking hell, like I'm not paying for this.
Yeah, here's some eggs. But then sometimes everybody gets sick of them. I'll tell you that for sure. We started with 11 chickens and I think we're down to 9. Probably refresh the flock a little bit, bring in some new blood here soon. I might do that this summer.
Okay.
So I think 10's good for you guys. Once we're all filled full of eggs, then we barter for sourdough bread. That's our trade.
Okay.
We have a couple dozen eggs left. Sarah goes to her friend and who makes sourdough, and that's the exchange.
Nice. Yeah, so 10-ish.
I did have that in my mind, to tell you, like, we'll start a relationship with somebody that wants eggs, and then you can always get rid of eggs and have something to trade them, at least for social capital or goodwill.
Yeah.
Dozen eggs goes a long way.
Okay. Basically, buy 10, don't go too crazy. If they get munched up, then, it's not the end of the world. You can get some more and then you can adjust. You can do a difficulty adjustment on how to get into the coop.
Yeah.
And then you have to feed them seed and stuff, or can they just like eat bugs and stuff?
Well, it depends on how much free range you have. I think the rule is something like 10 square feet per bird of grazing.
Okay. As in it has to be grass or it can be like shrubs and just ground coverage, basically.
It can be just ground coverage, but you probably are still going to need, I don't know, you've got a lot of life there.
Mm-hmm.
They may be able to make a living
Okay.
just being able to free range this property that you're looking at. I don't know if you told me how much land it has.
There's a lot of land they won't be able to get to. So probably of like useful land to them, it would probably not more than a third of an acre or something like that. It's not a lot. Maybe they need some feed and stuff.
They're going to need some foods.
Yeah. Okay.
So for the most part, I don't rotationally graze my chickens or let them completely free range.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have this long run, and along the run, I've planted comfrey, and so they can nibble at the comfrey. And then there's also raspberries on the other side of the run. So this is all summertime stuff naturally. The raspberries trickle over, and then my buddy has horses, and so I always get his old hay and throw it in there. And they have all of our table scraps and anything that we cut from the lawn, I throw in there, or tree trimming. I throw that stuff in. I just throw whatever at them, and they eat absolutely everything.
Do they eat all meat and like
Yeah.
there's nothing they can't do? Do they eat chicken? Is that
Yeah, they'll eat chicken. They don't care.
That's cannibalism, isn't it?
It is cannibalism. Yeah, somebody told me don't feed them too much chicken because they get aggressive. I swear to God, somebody told me this one time. And I was like, I don't know if that's true. That seems silly.
Well, I've heard that about with humans. If you eat another human's brain, it turns you mad.
You get mad cow disease.
Yeah, you get some sort of like, it really fucks you up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the same with chickens. I guess just don't feed them the brains. It just feels weird. But okay.
I guess not. I don't know. We've thrown in a roasted chicken carcass plenty of times in there, and they pick it clean. They love meat more than anything.
Okay.
It's all about what you have access to. So you have access to a lot of fruit there. And so on this property, is there an opportunity for you to grow some fruit trees that you could feed to them instead of attracting rats to because you've got rotten fruit on you? You know what I mean? You got to use these like permaculture principles and go with what's around because they'll eat a lot of stuff.
They'll eat basically anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a balance of protein versus other stuff for layers. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but they'll let you know what they want. If they don't want something, just leave it there. It isn't like, oh, I'm going to eat that even though I don't need it. As long as they have a variety, they'll figure it out. But if you're only doing it on a third of acre with 10 chickens are hard on grass and land and stuff. They go through it.
Maybe it's too much then.
If you want to free range them, they go like 100 yards at most away from the coop, something like that. And as long as they woke up in the coop, they're going to come back to the coop. But then if you don't have a rooster, then you're worrying about pressure by letting them completely free range. So you could do them in some kind of enclosed paddock and then just move the paddock every day, every other day.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It does sound like a lot of work. So that's
whatever the absolute minimum is, because otherwise it gets to a point when I'm
the
like,
absolute minimum is like a square area where you've got 5 square feet per bird for the coop and then 10 square feet per bird for their outside area. And then throw shit in there and they eat it.
Okay.
If you want them on fresh grass, you have to rotate it or let them completely free range. And then you've got all kinds of other problems.
Okay.
Now you're a bird tender.
It sounds good. Like, I love the idea of it, getting fresh eggs and stuff. I guess it was just to find out, is it going to be one of those things? I've done it where I've done like vegetable patches before in a previous house. And by the time I'd fought the slugs and fucked around and built the things and what was left, I was like, it would be so much cheaper and easier just to fucking buy the veg that I was growing. It was really just to find out, is it a complete fucking waste of time and should you just buy eggs, or actually is it kind of worth it?
Well, I don't know what your eggs cost there.
$4 a box of 6 or something like that.
$4 for 6?
Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Get some chickens, buddy.
Okay.
That's crazy. Here, when Aldi's was 89 cents a dozen, okay, even though those eggs don't have the nutritional value of pasture raised backyard
Hmm.
chicken eggs, it's still 89 cents. That's a hard sell there. Yeah, deal
Yeah.
with the stuff in the wintertime and not laying and changing water all the time. But $8 a dozen, yeah, that makes sense to me as long as you're doing the things. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
grow whatever crap grows there that's green and you throw it in there and you throw all your food scraps in
Hmm.
and just use whatever you can get locally and don't like force a square peg into a round hole and say, well, like, I have to
Yeah.
feed them scratch grain, but
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
scratch grain is $30 a bag here
Mm.
where I live. Well, don't do that.
Maybe it's not $8. I need to actually have a look what it is. But I know in the UK, like if I wanted decent eggs, like if I wanted free range, like
Mm-hmm.
non-battery farmed stuff, I'm pretty sure it was like maybe it's like £4.50 for six. So yeah, it probably is about that.
Okay.
It's probably similar. But it's not
Wow.
cheap. It's not cheap.
Okay. Try it out. Maybe not.
Okay,
Maybe not start with 10.
maybe start with 5.
Start. Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, don't go over the top. Give them
Okay.
somewhere to get in. It's warm. You know, you're never going to have to worry about them freezing to death.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the warm thing. Well, okay, well, now you got to change water more often. Now you got to collect eggs twice a day if it's 100 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
But just start small. See what you're into.
Okay.
You're not a homesteader.
No, I'm not. Okay.
Oh, also, one more thing I wanted to say to you that given that tropical environment, kind of worry about other bugs that I don't think are so bad here, like ticks and stuff like. Are ticks bad there?
Oh, I have no idea, to be honest.
Okay, get them some diatomaceous earth for them to take dust baths in.
Okay.
That's the solution for that.
Okay.
And then I don't know what rocks they have access to, but oyster shells, I'm sure you can get that pretty cheap there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
That's all. That's all I can think of.
So generally, for anyone who has a bit of land, we're basically saying if you have a bit of land, if you have a little bit of time, it's probably worth it. Get some chickens.
It probably is worth it, but chill out. Don't get all
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
You know I'm going to, but I'll try.
Yeah. We also know a lot of other neurotic people, and it doesn't have to be one of these
Yeah.
neuroses fueled projects. You lose a chicken, something goes wrong. Oh, well,
Yeah.
just a chicken.
Okay. We're sort of 6 months out, so we'll revisit this a bit further down the line, see how we're getting on.
Looking forward to it. Before we move on to our closer for the show, let's talk about Lake Satoshi. This is my favorite Bob Seger song. I think I've played this one the most. But nice bass run to it.
It's a good song.
Oh, Lake Satoshi. You know, now that when is the Bitcoin conference? Is it like tomorrow or something?
It's soon, isn't it? I'm terrible with dates. I'm not sure exactly.
Our Bugle friends, another guy who the fundamentals knows, Jeremy Pauley, like has a production company, and the Bugle people are doing an event in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And man, I just really feel terrible that I'm not making that. I don't care about that conference or anything, but I really wanted to go to that.
It'd be great. I'm sure that would be great. But the rest of it, not so much.
Oh, not so great. But what is great, 100%, and there isn't like, oh, this part sucks and this part's good, and is Lake Satoshi August 2nd this year in Langsburg, Michigan. Super breezy, super cool event. It is at a quarry, like a sand quarry. So when they're not doing Lake Satoshi stuff in certain times of the year, they like drain parts of the lake and dig out sand for construction sites.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this excavating company does. But when they're not doing sand out of the lake, it is completely filled up. It's ready for recreation. They've got a slide, diving board, a big gazebo area. They've got a large shop where they have events and speakers. Outside of that shop, they're going to have a little bit of a marketplace. Some of us Meshdadel folks are going to have our own little marketplace, little quiet thing, coffee shop kind of vibe with Otis Bittmeyer. I might sell some bullshit there. Evian Park Candles might be there. Not sure yet.
Nice.
We'll see how that all shapes up. But bring your family, bring your kids, prepare to have fun, hang out with people, make some food, sit down, have a campfire, great conversation with friends. Get rid of all the other bullshit. There's going to be no arguments about ordinals there. There's not going to be talk about decentralization. I mean, there could be talk, but it'll be breezy and cool.
Booberry seemed very excited by Lake Satoshi.
He did. I hope he comes. And Sarah said to me the other day, she's like, "Oh, the Blueberry seemed excited about Lake Satoshi. I hope he comes. He seems cool."
Yeah, he did seem cool. I was like, yeah, he's one of us.
Yeah,
He's an ungovernable misfit.
absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe he will come. But it just goes to show that like people do crave that kind of interaction, and that you really can't find that at these other bigger conferences. It's just a
Mm-mm.
completely different thing, and so that's why we say it all the time. We're like Lake Satoshi surely just keeps growing and growing because more and more people will want, like, they'll crave that kind of like real interaction.
You're not driving your car to Nashville or Las Vegas or Miami and saying, "I'm going to bring a tent and I'm going to sleep on the ground and it'll be no
Mm.
problem." Not happening.
Do you think Spencer will get out there as well?
I don't know. Is he in Missouri?
I don't know where he is. I think we talked about it with him as well. I think he sounded quite keen, and him and Boobery obviously know each other. Maybe they'll come down
Mm-hmm.
together.
They're in different states.
Okay, well, I don't know about all your
I'm
states
sorry.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. You're in America.
But
Jesus Christ.
it's all very practical. It's completely possible that somebody can drive 3-4 hours away. I mean, we've talked about with Bubba, he plans on doing this on a motorcycle coming from Arizona. That's pretty damn far away.
Yeah.
You would think like, okay, I want to go to Vegas. Okay, great. So Vegas is going to be $500 for a plane ticket, another $500,000 for a hotel room, plus whatever bullshit food that I have to buy. That's a $1,500 trip. And so I told the
Mm,
Bugle guys, I said, listen, I really want to come, but at this point in what I'm doing, like taking that time off and spending that money would just be irresponsible. But getting away for a weekend, going to somewhere where, listen, if you forgot soap or something, somebody's going to be able to let you borrow soap or borrow some kind of food or feed you or watch your kids. It's a community atmosphere. It's not a conference. And so it's
mm,
practical for somebody to say, you know what, I think I am going to go to that for the weekend. No problem.
mm-hmm.
I got $50 in gas, another $50 in food, case of water. It's practical. This is attainable. This is something you can do. Consider putting it on your summer plans.
Consider doing it. Consider going to Lake Satoshi.
Where you can build yourself some social capital.
Mm.
I've written a little piece. This isn't my normal long. Did you read it? You just want me to read it to
Yeah.
you?
No, I like you reading to me. Read it to me, Dad.
Social capital, the genesis link of sovereign nodes. Took me a while to work on that title. A little bit longer than I would have liked.
Mm-hmm. It's nice though. You can tell the work's gone into it. Great
Oh, thank
title.
you. When I look at all of the discussions the Meshdel has had over the years about the 8 forms of capital, I'm first grateful that Crazy Carl introduced the concept to us, but I'm also then drawn to pondering how I can improve upon those forms. And social capital often grabs my attention. I see it as the foundation upon which all other forms of capital are built. Intellectual, material, and even financial capital rely on the strength of relationships we cultivate. As John Donne penned, and I don't know why I quote this so fucking much, but as John Donne penned in the 17th century meditation 17 from Devotions Upon Emergent Occasions, no man is an island entire of himself.
Oh, you
Every
love
man
this one, yeah.
piece of the continent, a part of the main. I tell you why I love it so much is because that's really what I always like used to envision myself as. Like, oh,
An
I'm just
island.
gonna be a hermit and do my own
Mm,
thing and detached from everybody else. This was long before I had a family. That's the lifestyle, a nomad, freaking just riding my motorcycle in the desert in the middle of nowhere as if I can completely detach. And then as I've gotten older, I got over that fantasy. And then I kind of
mm.
think about this quote often.
I think you'd be Bermuda if you were going to be an island.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Too
Like
hot.
right out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And if anyone gets a bit too close, they fly in or go by boat, they might go missing.
I think it would be more like Shetland or something like that. Something in the
Where the little ponies come from.
yeah.
Yeah. I like those Shetland ponies. They're fucking useless, but I just think they're
Sure.
really funny. Every time I see them, I'm like, that's good. I like that.
Aren't you hilarious?
Okay, so you would be Shetland.
Yeah. I'm gonna go for
Okay.
something more rugged.
Okay.
I have to suffer. If I'm gonna do that, I'm going to suffer.
Okay, fair enough.
When it comes to intellectual capital, for instance, much of what we know comes from those who came before us. It's far more efficient to learn from another person through a direct connection rather than abstract materials. Even incredible learning sources like YouTube can't replace the physical connection, like the master-apprentice relationship. A relationship built on trust fosters that master-apprentice dynamic, where knowledge flows naturally between individuals, elevating both parties. Often the master can learn just as much from the apprentice. The same goes for cooperative work amongst those at the same skill level and knowledge base. The cooperative efforts magnify their intellectual capital. Social capital made these efforts possible, allowing these connections to be a tool of personal and communal growth. Forging the social bonds that serve as the genesis link of our Meshtadel sovereign nodes demands effort, often marked by pains and pains in the asses. We know many, many pains in the asses.
We do.
It's so funny, as we try to build these social bonds between each other, how many people just want to be snarky and interject
Me.
and, do mic drop bullshit.
I love being snarky.
You do love being snarky, but somebody that's like that's their entire personality. And sometimes I feel like saying, you realize we could be having real impactful conversations with one another here, but you've decided to interject in this long string of discussion and discourse with, I don't know, a cat.
A quippy
gif.
little, yeah.
So those are the pains in the asses that I'm talking about. These bonds, the initial connection of our mesh network of citadels, homesteads, communities, individuals, and families united by shared commitment to freedom and sovereignty, ignite the growth and transference of intellectual capital, the knowledge we exchange across nodes. Overcoming differences requires work. I really had a hard time making this point, but I'm going to read it and then please ask me what you think I mean.
Okay.
So I get it right. All right. So overcoming differences requires work, but I don't think that work is diversity for its own sake. I think that's not inherently beneficial. I think it's malarkey. The saying, we've got differences, so let's pile on more diversity and that'll somehow negate out all of our differences. Where I think homogenous groups like the Amish thrive because their moral and ethical foundations are aligned. They conserve energy otherwise spent debating core values. They already know where they all come from. I go on to say this cohesion drives their productivity. Within our Meshadel, intellectual diversity is essential to strengthen ideas, but it must be anchored in shared values. Social capital enables us to navigate these differences, fostering the exchange of knowledge across our network. Without it, division would weaken us, especially when the hard times come. Does that make sense? Does that paragraph make sense? A hard time.
It makes sense. I think it makes sense because we generally, I think we are kind of all on the same page for most things.
Yeah.
There'll be petty differences, and that shows up with all this like fucking running knots stuff and whatever else, whichever side people are on. But that really is petty because that's just like difference in the way you understand something, where everyone generally still wants freedom and wants control over their own money and all the good stuff there. That's just like a difference in understanding, or the way that you think you understand something is blown out of proportion. It's actually very minor. Whereas I think people who would go at each other on something like that, generally, if they just sat and had a drink and had a chat with both their families together somewhere, they'd probably have a good time. And like generally they'd be like, yeah, more freedom, more control, fuck the state. Like generally people are pretty aligned in terms of their morals, so in theory they could build better together than the average person.
Build back better. That's what they could do.
Yeah.
And I also didn't want to come across like, I think I like what the Amish do, but it is not necessary for a group to be completely homogenous in order to effectively accomplish something. But they do, like you were saying, they do have to have that foundational part, that foundational morals.
Yeah, definitely.
To build on top of.
Well, it makes it a lot easier when you sort of like you have roughly the same goals and like ethics and stuff like that. Like, generally, if you're like sit with most people in the Meshdel, or like you're at Lake Satoshi, no one's going to be like, oh, I think we should like bring a load of trannies around to like read storybooks in their underwear. Everyone's going to be like, don't be so fucking weird.
tranny story hour off of the list of things to have. I better call Otis that we're not going to have that at the coffee shop.
Make sure they don't have that. But if you go to other places, like some of the more wokey states and like
Mm-hmm.
different groups, where they'd be like, hold on a minute, you're doing an event where you don't have trannies reading to children. Like, what are you doing? You've missed a trick here. Because it would be obvious to them that that is the best thing that you could do. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where those two, like trying to merge those two worlds, is just never going to happen, because
Yeah.
fundamentally your beliefs, your ethics, your morals, what you believe to be good and right are completely polar opposite, and it's practically impossible then to move forward when you're so different. But if you're 50,
Mm-hmm.
60, 70, 80 upwards percent aligned, then you can get past the other differences. Like, I
Yeah.
run knots, I'm like, it's kind of gay, but I'll still drink with
Whatever.
you,
Yeah.
and like we'll still be friends, and I don't really give a fuck. I think it's a bit gay, but the rest of you's cool.
It's also a priorities thing. I just thought over the past week, geez, how much time and energy did people lose forever? You've
Mm,
lost all of that forever. And some people even damaged their social capital with their
mm.
mouths.
Yeah.
Why? For what?
Why? You could do it the other way. You could really build some social capital with
Yeah.
your mouth, Debbie.
What? Tammy.
Tammy.
Moving on. Once we get too immature, then I know it's time to move the show
Yeah,
along.
childish.
When difficult times arise, and they will, bullshit and drama abound. Boy, that that segued nice.
Ah,
And the true value of social capital becomes clearer. The people who have treated you well in the good times, those who offered their support without expecting anything in return, are the ones you can count on when the world shifts. Social capital is more than pleb connection or an IRL friendship. It is a resilient system of mutual trust that endures through adversity. Friends and family who have demonstrated loyalty and integrity in good times are your safety net when hard times inevitably strike. Remember this: everyone is your homie when the times are good, but when the going gets rough, well, you'll see who's a homie and who's not.
ain't that the fucking truth?
Everybody's your buddy at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
Social capital extends far beyond your immediate circle. Those groups are our Ungovernable Misfits social groups. They're made up of hundreds of people distributed all throughout the world. For the most part, relationships there are more in the realm of acquaintances. Some are IRL friends, but many just an internet chat room. The point I'm trying to make here is that even though these are our Ungovernable Misfits family social groups, there are still lessons to be learned and relationships built that could extend into the members of those groups' personal lives, your family lives, your physical communities. The intellectual capital we gather from broader networks, whether through groups like we have here at Ungovernable Misfits, the Meshdel, the Pleb Minor Mafia, they enrich not only ourselves, but our local communities. The lessons learned from those relationships extend outward, benefiting family, friends, and colleagues. What begins as a connection between individuals becomes a mesh network of shared wisdom applied to our IRL lives. This interconnectedness strengthens the fabric of our communities, allowing us to build something greater than the sum of its parts. I think that's self evident, but it seems silly, like something I learned in the Pleb Minor Mafia, I can extend to my local community and benefit it. But it's not. Say you learn some kind of home heating trick and you take it down to your local farmer's market, and somebody realizes there, oh, I've got cheap free energy and I can heat this room in my barn. So something like that. You never know where
Mm-hmm.
these ripples are going to extend to.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make there is you're not just chatting with your buddies. It has ripple effects beyond, especially if you're doing it well.
Mm-hmm.
Maintaining social capital takes effort. Relationships, like any living thing, must be nurtured. Check in on our friends. Join Meshdel calls on the 8th of every month. Show up. True care and consideration for others solidify these connections. When it's genuine, people feel it. That authenticity builds spiritual and cultural capital. And if you're consistent in your beliefs, grounded in something deeper, you become a pillar in the community, a rock others can lean on. Sometimes they ask if you could be their dad. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know what you're going to run into. In times of civilizational collapse or societal upheaval, social capital takes on an even greater significance. As the systems we've relied on falter, communities that are bound by trust, shared values, and mutual support will be the ones that endure. The pleb community has the potential to transcend organizing solely by race or culture. And we've done that. Back to this idea, it's like you can have this completely homogenous group like the Amish that are the same in everything, even how they dress.
Mhm.
Or you can have this cantina from Star Wars United Nations meme of every different culture in the world. And neither of those things have value just on their own. Homogenous community or ridiculous diversity.
Mm.
Once again, I'm trying to make the point that you have a foundation of morals and ethics
Yeah.
that transcends everything else. And instead, we can emulate the approach I experienced in the Marine Corps. A Marine's identity is not rooted in race, but in a shared mission and purpose. In the Marine Corps, we didn't see ourselves as black, white, or brown, although we did. It's some of the most racist people in the world, but everybody's still your brother. So you can be super racist to them because you love and care about them like a brother would. We were all just different shades of green. Black Marine was called dark green. A white Marine was called light green, so on and so forth. What mattered was not where you came from or the color of your skin, but your dedication to the Corps and its values. By rallying around shared goals, whether it's freedom, self-sovereignty, or resilience, we can build plebeian networks that thrive on cooperation, mutual respect, rather than division. Social capital isn't merely the connection we make, but what we do with those connections. We can talk, learn, and grow together, but the real strength comes when we apply those lessons within our families and communities. That's how we build resilience. That's how we improve ourselves, both physically and spiritually. It's how we raise our kids with love and integrity, support our friends, and how we help our neighbors and even strangers amongst us. If you want to be a part of something greater, keep listening to the PMM show on Ungovernable Misfits. Ask for an invitation to the Meshtadel. If you're more mining centric, the Pleb Miner Mafia. In these groups, we discuss and bond over everything from permaculture to parenting, mental motivations to peer to peer mesh networking, mentorship, parallel economies, and maintaining morals. But don't stop there. Take those lessons and apply them to your life, your family, and your local community. Together, we can build stronger bonds, raise our children well, love our families deeply, and truly help those around us. True social capital is real action in the real world with real people.
That's lovely, John.
I don't know if you're trolling me when you say that after I read these things.
No, it was good. It was good. I was being a cunt, but it is good. And yeah, the point stands. It is the most important thing is like what your morals are and what you're building towards. And I think we've got some really good groups with the Pleb Miner Mafia, with the Mesh Tadel, with TSB, which is kind of like an extension at this point. And then all the other interactions that we have around it. Like as a general rule, we are around a load of people who do care about freedom, whether that is on a grander scale or whether it is just for themselves and their families. It's a good group of people to be around, and there's not much of that in the outside world. We're pretty lucky. We're pretty blessed to have the people around us that we do. And yes, we're very different in a lot of ways, but having the different skills, you know, you've got some of us who are more physical, manual, logic type people, and then you've got some people who are like amazing at running businesses, and you've got some people who are really good at marketing, and you've got some people who are fucking tech geniuses, and you know, you just got all these different types of people, and we are starting to see more and more people working together and building together in different ways, and that's kind of the dream of the Meshtadel. So we're getting there, mate.
The real diversity is our strength.
Yeah.
This kind of diversity is your strength.
Yes. Agreed. Have we got a nice outro, or we'll think of one?
You can think of one. The Soulcraft was going to be the outro, but you said you wanted it on the intro, so I played it.
Should we have it on the outro as well? Because now we've had like a nice moment where we're reflecting on what we have and how lucky we are, and like I don't want us to end in a way that's like to happy, easygoing, everything's
Yeah.
okay. Let's now get back to, we've still got some cunts to fight, and we've got some people around us who can help us and we can stand shoulder to shoulder with, but we've got some cunts to fight. Let's get at it, please.
Whew. Okay. I'm going to give you another Bad Brains song. How about that? We'll go come in and out
Okay.
with Bad Brains.
Yeah, okay.
We'll figure it out.
All right.
Okay, buddy.
All right, mate.
It's good.
Always a pleasure, never a chore.
No, not at all. You're my best buddy. And my son.
Yeah. That's nice, isn't it?
Here it is. Here's the Bad Brains song.